Single dad breaks down on highway with daughter, a passing billionaire offers a ride and a job. The old pickup coughed once, then died with a final wheeze of protest, steam curling up from under the hood. James Daniels rested his forehead against the steering wheel, eyes shut tight as the weight of the moment threatened to crush him. On the passenger seat, 5-year-old Lily hugged her worn-out teddy bear and asked with innocent concern, "Daddy, are we gonna be okay?" It was a simple question, but to James, it cut deeper than any blade. He had no job, $12 to his name, and now a truck that wouldn't start in the middle of a remote stretch of highway just outside Tulsa. The Oklahoma sun was beginning to dip low, painting the sky in shades of orange and regret. James opened the door, stepping out into the hot gravel, looking both ways. No gas stations for miles. No traffic in sight. Just him, his daughter, and a heap of metal that had once been his last hope. The job interview in Dallas, his chance at a fresh start, was at 9 a.m. tomorrow. He thought about calling someone, but who? Since Claire died 2 years ago, it had just been him and Lily. He had no one left to call, no one who would care enough to pick up. He popped the hood with trembling fingers, knowing nothing he'd find there would fix the situation. His hands were greasy from checking hoses, but his mind was spiraling, calculating whether a bus would even come this way, wondering if he could carry Lily for miles on foot. He heard the crunch of tires on gravel behind him and turned, shielding his eyes. A sleek black car, too clean, too expensive, slowed beside them. The window rolled down, and a voice called out, "Need some help?" James squinted at the driver. The man wore a crisp white shirt, no tie, his sleeves casually rolled up. His watch alone probably cost more than James's truck. "Yeah," James said, trying to swallow his pride. "Broke down. Headed to Dallas. Got a job interview tomorrow. Can't miss it." His voice cracked, just slightly. The man looked at him for a moment, then glanced at Lily, who peered out from the truck, her big blue eyes filled with quiet curiosity. "Hop in," the stranger said. "I'm headed that way." James hesitated. He'd always taught Lily not to trust strangers, but what choice did he have? "You sure?" he asked, disbelief written all over his face. "Yeah," the man nodded, unlocking the doors. "Let's get you there." They loaded into the air-conditioned car, a luxury that made James almost tear up with gratitude. Lily immediately relaxed, nestling into the soft leather seat. "Thank you," James said softly. "I'm Mark," the man said, extending a hand. "Mark Whitmore." James blinked. The name rang a bell. Then it hit him, Mark Whitmore, CEO of Whitmore Industries. Billionaire. Philanthropist. Forbes cover. James nearly choked. You're that Mark Whitmore?" Mark smiled, eyes on the road. "Guilty. But right now, I'm just a guy giving another guy a lift." As they drove, Mark asked questions, not the polite, empty kind, but real ones. About James. About Lily. About the last 2 years. James told him everything, how Claire had died in a car accident, how he'd quit his job to care for Lily, how hard it was to find work with gaps in his resume, how he'd sold nearly everything for a shot at this job in Dallas. "I just want to build something again," James said. "Not for me, for her." Mark was quiet for a while. Then he said, "You know, when I was 10, my dad lost everything. Slept in a car for 2 months. People think I was born lucky. Truth is, I was born determined. People like us, we know how to fight." They reached Dallas late that night. Mark didn't just drop them off, he booked them into a hotel. Paid for 2 nights. Ordered room service for Lily. James tried to protest, but Mark just smiled and said, "Let me do this. It's not charity. It's humanity." The next morning, James put on the only suit he owned, frayed at the cuffs, but clean. He kissed Lily's forehead and walked into that interview with a spine made of steel. He got the job. Full-time. Benefits. Enough to rent an apartment within the month. But that's not where the story ends. 2 weeks later, he got a call. It was Mark. "I've been thinking," Mark said. "I need someone like you. Someone who understands what it means to lose everything and still stand tall. Come work for me. I'll train you. I'll invest in you. I believe in people who don't quit." James stood there, stunned, phone in one hand, Lily in the other. "Why me?" he finally asked. "Because," Mark replied, "when I stopped on that highway, I wasn't just helping you. I was remembering who I used to be." James took the job. 5 years later, James runs one of Mark's regional operations. He lives in a modest house with a garden that Lily helps him tend. Every month, he donates part of his salary to single parents trying to rebuild their lives. And every now and then, he drives that same stretch of highway with a spare bottle of coolant, jumper cables, and the same question Mark once asked him, "Need some help?" Because the truth is, sometimes the road breaks us down. Sometimes life stalls in the middle of nowhere. But there are still people out there, kind, unexpected, and generous, who stop, roll down their window, and change everything with one simple act of humanity. And sometimes, that's all it takes to start the engine of hope again.